What's up, guys? It's Crash, and I want to talk to you guys today about Warzone 2.0. You can throw DMZ in there, but that aspect of Call of Duty and kind of its downhill slide over the last couple months and why that could possibly be. Overall, I definitely think it coincides with the holiday break, with the devs kind of getting the first 1.0 out in the wild, somewhat playable, and then taking off for the holidays, much deserved break. But I think they have a lot of things to do to get it fixed right away. So in this video, I kind of want to hear from you guys in the comments below what you think is going on, where you stand with it, and how you think they can kind of turn the ship around. And also, I'm just going to give you guys a few facts and figures, a couple numbers, a couple tweets from sources, and then kind of talk to you about what I think happened and where I think Warzone 2 needs to go. I really enjoy doing these discussion videos, so let's get right into it. Now, over the last couple weeks, what kind of got me into this mindset or thinking about the decline of Warzone 2 is kind of my own experience, if not one to play it as much, but then also quite a bit of discourse on Twitter from a lot of larger content creators not really enjoying Warzone 2.0, and that is probably for a number of reasons. At first, I didn't think much of it. It could be Twitter doing its thing, right? Like putting controversial tweets that get a lot of interaction in front of you, so you join in and you use Twitter more and just more engagements and stuff like that on Twitter. It does do that. It's kind of wild on Twitter sometimes for that reason. But then what really drove it home for me was a tweet from Charlie Intel. And they tweeted, "We've heard from multiple people that Warzone 2's player count dropped over the break at a higher rate than expected. Unclear what it all means for what will change at this point. Hope we get some good updates soon." And then I think it's worth noting that down below, Tom Henderson, the lead writer and editor over at Insider Gaming, asked if this was just from looking at Steam charts, which is something we can do, or if it's from sources, and Charlie Intel replied, "Why would I give away my sources?" So it sounds like he's actually talking to someone on the inside, which a large outfit like Charlie Intel wouldn't surprise me very much in the least bit. So it sounds like, if we read into that tweet just a little bit, that the developers expected to lose some players over the holidays. They probably have older data to go off of, but they expected to lose some players with some of the missing features and lack of content. But it sounds like it's been at a slightly more alarming rate. So some of the things that we can look at are the actual Steam charts themselves of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0. Now, this incorporates multiplayer and the BR into it, of those who's playing on Steam. And right now it was sitting at 136,000, down from almost 500,000 players. Now, losing players like this is not that uncommon. This isn't even as quite a severe of drop percentage wise as what Battlefield 2042 saw. Not quite that bad, but it is still pretty alarming. However, a lot of games do this when they release on Steam. Everyone plays them, tries them out, and then they lose. But again, this might be a little bit more alarming. And then something else that he can tell you is, over on the top games like current players right now, Call of Duty is sitting at number 8, with other notable titles that are shooters and BRs above them of PUBG and Apex Legends actually have a higher amount of players. It's crazy that PUBG is still hanging on there. I don't think it's as big as NA as it is overseas, but it still sees a lot of players in PUBG, which is pretty crazy and of note to me. So with kind of that all being said, why do you guys think this is? For me, I honestly think it's a mixture of things. One of the worst things is, in these game modes and in the battle royale especially, I don't think it's as bad as DMZ. It's not quite as bad in multiplayer. The gunfights feel incredibly random. Jack Frags did a video about random damage and how certain things that shouldn't happen do damage wise. Sometimes snipers do one shot and they're not supposed to. Sometimes melee can take you down in one hit from fully plated and it's not supposed to. Gunfights feel really random. I always think of this clip of Crim6. He's a Call of Duty professional player getting absolutely turned on by somebody coming up a ladder. The hit detection and hit reg does not feel good. I would almost go out on a limb, and this could just be recency bias talking, currency bias, but I feel like this game has the worst netcode of any multiplayer shooter that's released in quite a while. I think it is almost rivaling some Battlefield launches with terrible netcode. Now, we're not seeing the crazy amount of bugs and desync with players and phantom players and things frozen all over the map like we did with the 2042 launch. It's almost hidden in there. And a lot of people say skill-based hit registration. I really don't think that's a thing with all the stuff that's unfinished in this game, something that complex. I don't feel like they would have added. I think it's just trash. I think the netcode is absolute garbage. And I don't know if you guys remember Battle Nonsense, but he's a network engineer that used to go and check out netcode of video games and review them from input lag to latency, packet loss, and things like that. I would love to see him come back and check this out, because I think we would be pretty surprised at how abysmal the netcode of this game is, and it needs fixed ASAP. The gunfights in this, which is the fundamental foundation of Call of Duty, do not feel good. They feel incredibly random, in my opinion. I feel like sometimes I get absolutely melted from 3 plates, and then on the opposite side, sometimes I win fights that I don't feel like I should have win if I'm out of position or something like that. So it just feels completely random and doesn't really feel good. The other thing that I think is really hindering this game is lack of stats and ways to track your progress, because even though I'm not like an all-out Warzone content creator, I'm not super into the game 100%. It's not my only main game that I play. Back in the last one, playing Resurgence with a lot of friends on Rebirth Island, I started to kind of get into my win total. I got a few hundred wins, and I started to like to add to that title and check, or excuse me, add to that tally, add to that sum, and go back and check and see how many wins I was up to. And right now you can't look at any kind of stats. So there was a large group of creators, a large group of kind of more competitive players that were grinding for those wins, wanted to get that number up and up and up and higher, and they can't even do that. That was like a little bit of a competitive itch that it would scratch for a lot of players, and it's not even there. So what that's done is in turn made content like a little bit lackluster. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but a lot of the large content creators, really the only thing they can do is chase nukes in the game. So then you start to see everyone's videos like a nuke with every gun, a nuke with no bullets, a nuke while standing on my head, a nuke with a blindfold on, a nuke with one eye closed, a nuke with only using one arm. Like, it's just every kind of stuff and ways to make a nuke, and that stuff starts to get really bland too. So there's not a lot for content creators to do in this. And let's face it, if videos are doing well, if the content scene is bussin', as the kids say, everyone is enjoying it and they watch these videos, and then it makes them want to play the game. And that is just really not happening at all with this game. You also have a fair number of players that don't like the changes that they made with making it more of a traditional battle royale. What I mean by that is a little bit more complicated inventory system and a little bit of slowed down and non-exploitable movement. Now, you can be on both sides of the spectrum. I don't think it really matters for this video. I kind of like the more positioning and tactical based movement, but I'm old, so I get it from the other side that wants the slide canceling and crazy movement kings to come back. Although I still think you can get pretty good with the movement in this game and be pretty quick with it based on my experience in Search and Destroy. But I do see where people are coming from. So that's another thing that's kind of adding to the negative perception of this game. As well as, guys, I think we have a little bit of bias. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the glory days of Verdansk at launch of Warzone 1.0, because it also had a lot of these issues, but doesn't really suffer from it. I mean, we have the rose-colored glasses looking back with nostalgia, but that was just the perfect storm for a video game, for a new battle royale with a ton of buzz to release. If you guys remember, that was at the height of the pandemic. Everybody was staying home. Everybody was like almost forced to stay home. So we were playing video games, and that's where you hung out with your friends, was on Verdansk. A lot of great memories happened there. All people were almost forced to play it. And so it was just the actual right storm of what was happening in world events, what everyone was doing culturally. And it just was a big deal. I think it's something that will be remembered for a long time, and it was a special thing that came together. I don't in the least want you guys to think I'm saying that the pandemic was special. Of course it's awful, but I mean, for the game wise, the situation was there to have the game be incredibly successful, with a lot of people playing, a lot of friends meeting online. And I don't think, thank goodness that's not going to probably happen again, hopefully, but that's not going to happen. That's not something that's going on with this game. There's not something going on culturally. People are getting back outside, people are doing other things. There's a lot of other games, and it's just not the same thing. That's not the same world situation right now, and I don't think we're going to see that with Warzone 2.0, and that's another big reason. But overall, I think this is probably nearing the low point for this game. I think they probably will turn it around as Raven and Infinity Ward get back to work. They're going to start adding content for season 2 with the rumored Rebirth map, the new Resurgence map of allegedly the castle map that's coming for that mode. That will bring a lot of people back in. Towards the end of Caldera, there were a lot of people. I saw a lot of polls from larger sites like Modern Warzone, where a lot more people were actually playing those Rebirth type modes. I enjoyed them as well. So I think you'll see a lot of people come back for that. I think season 2 is going to be really big for the game. They do definitely have something special with DMZ if they keep pushing it. And as it is a beta, sounds like they're going to, if they keep pushing and adding to that game mode. I think overall the map is pretty good. Al Majr, I think, plays really well for Battle Royale, so they have that going for them. They just need to add more content. They need to get the netcode fixed. They need to get the stats going. They need to balance some things to make it a little bit more fun for all play styles. And I think they're going to be moving in the right direction while adding a lot of stuff to DMZ, getting that more fleshed out, more complicated, more people playing it longer, complex, I should say, not necessarily complicated, more deep, get you more engagement into DMZ, because I think they have something really special there. And they will likely get this game turned around somewhat, but will it ever reach the Verdansk Warzone 1.0 days? I honestly don't think so, guys. Let me know down in the comments where you stand on this. I would love to hear from you. If you guys enjoyed this video, I made another one just specifically about DMZ and how to make it better and things they could add going forward, so consider checking that out. I'll put it on the screen. Consider subscribing if you enjoy this kind of content. Thank you guys so much for watching. A special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you later on.